Okay, hi folks. We had a request for splits and headstands and how those things are connected. So let's just start at the top of the mat with our feet a bit wide, hips width or even wider. And let's just inhale here and exhale, put a little bend in the knees. Inhale again, just relax your arms. Exhale to drop your chin towards your chest, and we're just going to start rolling down. Inhale naturally when you feel like it's time. And exhale to roll a little further, possibly let your fingertips touch the floor. When you get there, next inhale will straighten the legs. Any amount will reach the chest forward. You might put your hands on shin. Fold, exhale, bend the knees again, drop your head. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, fold, bend the knees, drop the head. So when we inhale, regardless of where your hands go, you're reaching your chest forward. And when you exhale, you'll drop your head, rest your chest on your thighs. Just a few more like this. Inhale, shoulders roll back. And when you exhale, think of getting your tailbone heavy toward your heels. Last time, we'll inhale. And we'll exhale to fold. Let's inhale halfway up again. This time, let's just step to plank for the exhale. Palms flat, feet step back, arms are straight, fingers are spread wide, and the belly's drawing up so that the hips are staying up. We're not droopy through the hips. On your next exhale, press to downward dog. And on your inhale, come to plank again. Just do this a few times. Notice when you exhale, you're pushing with your fingertips. And notice when you return to plank, you're pulling with your fingertips. We exhale, downward dog. Our heels move toward the floor. And we inhale, we press with the balls of the feet to bring our torso and shoulders forward. One more round. And the next time that you're in your plank, let's exhale all the way to the belly. Untuck the toes. Inhale, a little cobra, pressing the pubic bone down as the chest lifts up. And let's press the child's pose for the exhale. On the inhale, let's rise through tabletop, arch the back. And on your exhale, press to your child's pose again, bringing your butt close to your feet. We inhale forward, we arch, we pull the chest through. And we exhale, we round the back. One more time. Learning how to use the core to change the shape of the torso. Let's meet in our tabletop so that we can curl the toes under and just find what we call heavy-handed tabletop. So the knees will just come up a few inches. Arms are still straight. Take one more breath here. And on your exhale, press to downward dog. Let's just bend one knee at a time so that each heel gets the opportunity to touch the floor. So the hips can be shifty. There's all kinds of wiggling around that people do in downward dog, especially if it's the first one you're doing today. So let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. Whenever you can't keep your palms flat anymore, keep your feet at that new spot. Inhale to straighten your back, maybe hands on shins. Exhale to fold. Let's bend the knees and lift the arms overhead. Utkatasana. And we'll just straighten the legs, arms by our sides. We'll do that again. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. Your hands may or may not touch. And exhale, we push down with some energy in the arms as if the air is thick. Inhale, the weight goes to the heels. And exhale, we press down to get our legs straight, crown of the head up. One more time. And we'll bend the knees again for an inhale. This time when we exhale, we'll straighten the legs and fold, head towards shin bones. Inhale halfway up and step to plank again for your inhale. Chaturanga or to your belly for your exhale. Inhale for cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Think of this as a upside down V position. So you have pretty much a straight line from your butt to your hands and from your butt to your heels. If you want the variation of heels up, knees bent, obviously then it's not a straight line, but it's a choice. It's not an accident. Let's lift the right leg up high for the next inhale and just lower it to downward dog for the exhale. Left leg up high for the inhale, point the toes, and lower it down for your exhale. Right leg up high, inhale, and let's step forward to the hands any amount so that your palms are flat when you step. And lower that left knee down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, circle the arms back and down. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Just one more time like this. We're digging that right heel into the floor, and we're bending our right knee quite a lot. Next inhale, we'll just reach up. Then we'll place the palms on the floor so that we can step either downward dog or chaturanga for your exhale. If you chose chaturanga, inhale for your back bend, and we all meet in downward dog. Now let's go left leg high, inhale. Step toward the hands any amount. If you didn't get your toes to line up with your fingertips, if your leg landed back here somewhere, just hold on to it with your left hand, pick it up, and move it forward. And let's place that right knee down and reach up for an inhale. We'll circle the arms back and down for the exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. You're using that front leg to control how far forward your hips are going so that you can get a stretch through your right thigh. Inhale, and we'll just place the hands on the floor, chaturanga or downward dog for your exhale. So there should be no pain in your wrists or elbows. You're working your fingers quite a lot. Fingers are spread wide. Inside edge of the hand is pushing down. Okay, let's bring the feet together so it's like we only have one foot. That left foot is a bit centered on the mat. Let's lift the right leg up high for an inhale. And we'll tap that right knee to the right elbow for the exhale. Inhale the leg up high again. And exhale to bring it forward. Tap it as high up on the arm as you can. Again, inhale. One more time, we'll bring it forward. We're not going to let the right toes touch the floor as the knee comes in. Leg up high. And let's step forward between the hands. Do whatever thing you needed to do to get your toes and fingers to line up. And we reach up, inhale. And let's just straighten the legs, push straight down for the exhale. Bend the knees, reach up, inhale. Exhale, push. Inhale, reach. Exhale, push. So we're also pushing through the ball of that right foot. Inhale, reach. And this time we'll just put the hands on the floor. Step vinyasa or downward dog. What we mean by vinyasa is just the exhale for chaturanga, the inhale for up dog, and the exhale for down dog. You'll find that many moves begin and end in downward dog. So if you ever feel lost or tired, just go there. Now let's bring the feet together again. Left leg high. Inhale. Tap the knee to the elbow. Exhale. Inhale. Press it back. Exhale. Bring it forward. Keep the arms straight and keep your weight on your thumb and pointer finger. One more time. A lot of core strength to do this. We'll lift the leg up. And then we'll step the foot to the hands. It's the same core strength that gets your foot forward, combined with some flexibility. We'll reach up. This is a high lunge. And we'll just push down to get that front leg straight. We'll return to high lunge. Palms push up. Exhale, we push down. And we push up. And we're trying to keep the hips square the whole time. So that right hip, you're going to have to work hard to squeeze the thighs together so the right hip keeps moving forward. And we'll keep the knee bent so that we can place the palms flat on the ground vinyasa or downward dog. From downward dog, let's lift the right leg up high, and we'll just step into the hands for warrior one. Now the back heel comes down, we lift the arms up. This is a traditional warrior one. Right now we're going to interlace our fingers behind the back and open the shoulders. I'm just going to change the angle. We're going to try to get the thumbs quite high off the leg. Depends on your shoulder flexibility. You might be stuck with your thumb on your thigh, but over time it's going to lift higher and higher. Okay, let's release the grip and reach up for an inhale so that we can just lower the hands. Step to downward dog for the exhale. Left leg high, inhale. Left foot to the hands, exhale. Warrior one. So that back heel is on the floor and that back foot about 45-degree angle. Let's interlace the fingers behind the back, maybe roll the shoulders a time or two so that we can reach back. And if you feel stuck and there's just no kind of feeling of opening here, instead of such an extreme chest opener, you could do something more like this and just practice rolling the elbows back, the shoulders back, and pressing the elbows back. And then you'll feel the chest lift maybe a little bit more. Okay, next inhale, arms up. And let's release the hands to the floor, vinyasa. Or don't, of course. We'll meet in downward dog. Let's practice just going from here without lifting the right leg to the ceiling first. We're just going to step it forward. So inhale in a regular downward dog. And on your exhale, just step your right foot to your hands. Return to your down dog for an inhale. And step to your hands, exhale. One more time. It's fine if it's not getting all the way. Take your ego out of it. And then let's meet with our toes lining up with fingertips. High lunge for an inhale. Warrior two for the exhale. Straighten that right leg. Inhale. Bend it, exhale. So in warrior two, our gaze is over that right middle finger. We exhale to bend the knee. Last time, we'll just straighten the leg for the inhale. And we'll bend the knee for the exhale. Let's place the elbow gently on the thigh. Reach that left arm over the ear. And we're going to reach as much as we can so that we can push more with that left foot. Either stay here or bring your right hand to the pinky toe side of your foot. Maybe on fingertips, maybe on a block, maybe on the ground. We'll just take one more breath. And let's release the hand to the floor and just step to downward dog. Shake out your head and neck. No reason for the neck to be tense here. Let's get the arms a little bit straighter. So squeeze the forearms in toward one another. We'll exhale here. When you're empty of breath, step forward with the left foot. Inhale to return to your downward dog. Exhale, step. Inhale, return. One more time. By pushing your hands down into the floor, you're creating space. And that's how you're getting that left foot forward. So let's meet with our left foot forward. Toes line up with fingers. Windmill up to your warrior two, or you can do that high lunge into warrior two, either way. And this is a heel to arch alignment. That right foot faces the long edge of the mat. Left foot faces the short edge of the mat. We'll inhale to straight left leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straight. Exhale, bend. One more time. We'll place that elbow gently on the thigh so it's not crazy weight bearing. Right arm over the ear. We get roughly a straight line from foot to hand. And if your hip says that it wants more, you can put your hand down on the ground, or higher up would be on fingertips or a block. So you decide how much you can handle while still feeling an opening in the right side of the body. So you don't want your hip to distract you here. You want to still be able to breathe calmly in and out through the nose. Good. And let's release the hand down. We'll step to downward dog. Shake out your head and neck. Okay. Let's bring the right foot forward to the hands. Launch your left leg into the air. This is a standing split. We'll only stay here for a moment. We're going to point those left toes. You might want to lift your hands up onto your right calf. Either way, you're going to get your left leg a little bit higher with some energy. And let's put the fingertips down again. If your hand was up, we're just going to step back to a lunge. Inhale, arms up. Open warrior two. Triangle. We'll straighten that right leg. You might want to scoot your left foot in just a bit. We're going to reach as far out as we can on an inhale. Lower the hand. On your exhale, look up at that left thumb. Your right hand can be as high up on your leg as you want, or it can be all the way at the big toe. But the hand is not a weight-bearing support pillar. It is a conductor of energy. Your pose is being stabilized by your leg strength, your core strength. One more breath. On your next inhale, let's rise up. And we'll just rebend that right leg so we can step to downward dog. Every time you step back, notice that your arms are straight and you're pushing into the floor. Let's bring the left foot forward. With our hands, we gave ourselves a little pull, and we'll lift our right leg up, standing split. Hands can support you. Hands can come to the leg. You can have one hand on the leg, one hand on the floor. Get the right leg a little straighter. And let's place the fingers down again if they were up. And we'll just step back. Big steps, that's a high lunge. Arms will come up to make it a high lunge. And warrior two. Straighten the left leg. Adjust your right foot as needed for triangle. We reach out, inhale. And we exhale. So the ball of the left foot is going to stay down, regardless of which grip you chose. So if your hand is on your shin, that's going to feel very normal. If you're taking the big toe and you're kind of new to taking the big toe, just make sure you're not lifting the foot in any way. It's just the toe that came up. You got your grip, and then you're pushing down through your hand. On the next inhale, we'll rise up. And we'll bend into the knee, hands come to the floor, downward dog. Shake out your hand. Okay, let's bring our right foot forward. Back knee to the floor. This is Anjaneyasana. We'll bring the hands up to that front thigh. And we'll just nudge that knee forward a bit. Chest will move away from the thigh. Feel free to stay here. It's stable this way, comfortable. If you can keep this position with just the strength of this front leg, interlace the fingers behind your head. Bring your elbows in a little bit so you can see them with the periphery of your vision, and start to push your head into your hands. Your elbows will then point to the ceiling. We'll just take 2 more breaths here. If your elbows are pointing up, you might also be looking up. Still, you're bending that front leg a lot and you're thinking about it. It's in your mind's eye, even though you can't see it. Let's rise up, release the grip, and just change legs. To change legs, you can step back to downward dog, or you can step forward with the left foot and then back with the right foot. It does not matter. Right knee comes down, hands come to the left thigh. We deepen the Anjaneyasana a bit.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, can I walk past?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. We're recording. So this is what it's like doing
Hello.
yoga at home. You've got people coming in with groceries and you've got dogs howling.
Yeah, who cares?
So we either stay like that or we interlace the fingers behind the head and we start to press the head back into the hands. And the howling in here is Alaska. She's a gorgeous woman. And as much as you can, just stay focused on yourself and your breath. And just let her say what she's going to say. On the next inhale, we'll come up so that we can release the hands down. And let's vinyasa this time. We've been, in a way, saving some energy. You haven't vinyasa in a few moments. So, let's bring our knees to the floor and elbows to the floor. We're going to measure it out by wrapping our fingers around our triceps. If you're not new to headstand, you've been doing it forever, still wrap yourself because you'll get the perfect spot for your elbows. Then interlace your fingers, lift your knees, press back to dolphin. So we're pushing into the edge of the hand and getting our chest a little closer to our thighs. If this is easy for you, walk your feet in a little closer to your elbows. And then you're going to feel there's more weight on your arms, and it's more difficult to push down. But we're still pushing down so much that the head is not coming onto the floor. So a lot of shoulder strength there. And let's start walking it back so that we can come into a plank shape. Walk your feet far enough back, then now you're just a straight line from head to feet. Belly comes in, tailbone reaches toward your feet. You can always do this with the knees down. This is a great modification, but we're not letting the hips get droopy. And then let's place the knees on the floor, release your hands, and just press to downward dog or something that you consider restful. And take a moment or two there. The dogs are running around. I just wanted to check on them. Okay, so from downward dog, let's bring our right foot forward, the left knee down. We're just going to straighten the right leg by pushing into the sole of the foot until we're just on our heel. And then we'll dig that heel into the floor and pull all the way to the sole of the foot. Just 2 more times like that. So we're just practicing using the hamstring and stretching it and getting into that left hip and hip flexors. Okay, once that right foot is on the floor again, I'm just going to scoot back a bit so that I can still be in camera frame. We're going to lift the left knee and launch the left leg off the ground. Feel free to stay like this, or stack your left hip and lift your left arm up. You might want to put your right hand on the block. This is Ardha Chandrasana. Really nice for getting into that right hip. And we're going to kick that left leg back, flex the foot. You might even look up at your left thumb. Just one more breath here. And let's lower that left hand down if it was up. We'll step left foot to meet right foot, inhale, and bring the right foot back, exhale, lower that right knee to the floor so that we're in our Anjaneyasana side 2. Left leg is in front and bending quite a lot. Fingers will come down to the floor or the blocks. We'll straighten the leg, inhale, and bend that left leg as much as you can, exhale. And again, inhale, and exhale. One more time. Okay, and with that sole of foot firm, we lift the right knee and we launch the right leg up. The left foot is not going to move on the floor as we adjust our hips. So if you want Ardha Chandrasana, then you stack your right hip and you lift your right arm. You're keeping your left sole of foot exactly how it was. You're just letting everything else move around that. The thing that's on the floor is always the most important thing of the pose. Good. Then let's release right fingertips down, right foot down, inhale. And let's just squat for the exhale. Bend the knees as much as you can. And we'll come down onto our butt. And we'll lift the legs. You can hold on if you want. You can straighten the legs if you want. We'll just take 2 more breaths. This is Dakota right here. Dakota. He's my friend. And let's cross the shins. We're going to place our hands on our feet or ankles and pull our knees in toward our shoulders. And let the arms straighten so your knees move away. Just a few times like that, just to show yourself that you have this flexibility to get your knees close to your shoulders. It's possible. Now we're going to try to do that without our hands helping us. So let's reach forward and then cinch the knees in toward the shoulders and let them move away. Cinch them in and let them move away. 2 more times. This is very helpful for your headstands, for getting into headstand without kicking or jumping. Good. Then we'll just place the edges of the feet on the floor, the hands down, step back, vinyasa. Let's bring the right foot forward between the hands and we'll pivot to face the long edge of the mat. Let's just put left hand under the face, right hand up to the ceiling. So our feet are parallel to one another, facing the long edge of the mat. You can gaze up to that right thumb. You can also wrap your right arm behind your back and try to grab onto your left thigh. You could also walk the left hand to your right ankle and pull yourself into more of a twist. But first and foremost, it's a hamstring stretch. Okay, let's slowly get out of there, wherever you are. Right hand will come under the nose. Left hand will lift up. And we're pushing down into that right hand. And maybe we reach the left arm behind the back. Maybe we walk the right hand over to the left ankle or somewhere in that vicinity. And we let the quadriceps be very strong so that we feel safe, that the hamstrings can stretch. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. We're just going to walk our hands toward the top of the mat. The right foot is at the top of the mat, at least theoretically, so put it there if it's not. Right foot in front. And we're just going to start to creep that left leg back, the left knee back. Until we feel like it's difficult to keep the sole of the right foot on the floor, but still possible. So I can get to about here. If I were to keep going back with the left knee, I would wind up with this right foot flexed. So I'm just going to pause right there and practice maybe lifting the hands off the ground. This is an insane amount of leg strength to keep the hips square. So go very gentle. Okay, let's walk that left knee in again so that we can change sides, either stepping to down dog or stepping forward, winding up with the left foot in front, the right knee on the ground. And really, you're in Anjaneyasana here. When you creep your right leg back, it's still sort of Anjaneyasana, it's just longer. So now your shin bone will be sort of obtuse to the front of the mat. So practice lifting the hands any amount. Those of you who are well versed in pigeon, you've probably had to do this same kind of work to keep your pigeon square when you're lifting your arms up in pigeon. Because sometimes we get a little too complacent in pigeon and we're not square and we're not working, but to do safe splits, we need to know how to work. Okay, let's creep that right knee in again and let's vinyasa. And let's meet on our butts. So you can jump through, you can crawl through. I'm just going to step forward and lower my butt to the ground. And we'll meet with our feet maybe 1.5 feet in front, hands under the thighs. We're going to inhale, pull the chest forward, and exhale to round the back. I'm just going to spin this way to the camera. So it's an inhale to a bit of an arc feeling or a flat feeling, and exhale to round. Just 2 more times like that. You're on the sitting bones, and then you're more on the tailbone. 1 more time. And see if you can keep your feet anchoring you. We're going to meet here in this rounded shape. Just bring the arms forward like you're holding a big beach ball. Now we're going to twist to the right, any amount. Come through center, keeping that round shape, and go to the other side, exhale. Through center, inhale, exhale, twist right. Through center, inhale, exhale, twist left. Just 1 more time each side. So this is getting you some of that core strength that you need to get up into your headstand. Okay, hands under the thighs. We inhale to rise. And let's just vinyasa or step into downward dog if you feel tired. And let's meet in tabletop, hands and knees to the floor. We'll come down to our elbows and we'll do that same measuring by wrapping our fingers around the triceps, interlace the fingers. So here's one little detail. Let's see how close can I get to the camera. So we want a straight line from knuckles to elbows. So I'm not going to have my palms together like this, and I'm not going to have the wrists bent like this. So it takes a bit of hand control to keep this shape. That's going to be our goal. So we'll meet in dolphin, keeping our hands almost like you have a little egg between your palms that you don't want to squish. And when you're ready, you're just going to lift your heels and tap your head to the floor between your hands. And lift your head and press your heels towards the ground. Heels will come up, head will tap down. Then head will come up, heels will press down. So just alternate at your pace. You can go through however much intensity you want. But make sure you feel that action of allowing your head to come down nice and slow. And then you feel the pressing of the edge of your hand and your wrist to get your head up. If this is going well, it's likely that you are able to do headstand. Okay, so let's meet on our knees again. Come back to your palms, straight arms, inhale. And press to downward dog, exhale. Let's go pigeon right leg in front. And at this particular moment, it doesn't quite matter where you put your right foot in your pigeon. We're going to deal with our back leg for a sec. I like to keep my right hand as a bit of a kickstand so that I don't fall onto that right hip. This would be a bit cheating. Now my hips are facing the diagonal. So you want to just keep your left hip moving front. If you're able, reach your left hand back for the inside edge of your left foot. So it'll be like your thumb is touching your inner big toe. And then you wind up with this great stretch through the left pec muscle on the shoulder. If you have that grip comfortably, start to kick, and then this right arm will no longer need to be on the floor because the kick is helping keep the chest up. If I don't kick, this could happen. I'll be a bit falling forward. The more I kick, the more upright it gets. Okay, let's get out of there and just change sides. We'll meet with our left leg in pigeon. Our right leg will slide back. Kind of the way you got into that longer version of Anjaneyasana, that's how you can deepen your pigeon. If you start up here and then you decide that your hip can handle more, you're just going to move your right knee back until you feel like, okay, that's good. Left hand will help keep you square. Either stay there or right hand comes back. And just experiment. You could put a towel or a yoga strap on that back foot. You could have the knee bent without having a grip. You could have the hand on the pinky toe side of the foot instead. There's a lot of ways. I'm just saying one way. And I want us to practice that concept of lifting the chest, of working that back leg, and of keeping that scissor action in the leg so that your hips are facing the short edge of the mat. Okay, let's get out of there, downward dog. If you feel at all tight in your low back, take a vinyasa here. Sometimes we get stuck. The best way out of stuck is moving with breath. Let's go right foot forward, pigeon again. This time, we're going to cheat by rocking to our right hip. This would be not pigeon, but now extend this right leg straight and come back onto your squareness. So now you're in the split. A lot of weight in that left knee. You could even move it in more so that you have your left thigh vertical. You decide where do you put that left knee so that you can stay square, stay strong in the legs, as much weight in your hands as you need. Sometimes it's nice to wedge or block under this right thigh. We'll just take one more breath here. The hard part's gonna be getting out of it. So palms flat. You're gonna curl your back toes, lift your left knee, and start to hoist your hips up so you can slide your right foot back. And let's go left leg, forward, pigeon. And you're essentially in a split with 3/4 of your legs. Rock to your left hip and get your left shin bone forward. Now all of your legs are in your split, your Hanumanasana, and you're as high up as you need to be. There's no rush to get the pelvis to the floor. You'll keep just thinking right hip forward, engage the left thighs. Right hip forward, engage the left thighs. And we all have a side that's a bit looser. So just acknowledge that, whether you can go further or you have to be more delicate here. You have to accept it. You have no choice. Okay. We'll start to bring that right knee in again. And let's vinyasa. So we'll start heading toward headstand. And we'll go through a way that does help us, helps with split, but also split helps it. So it's kind of a circular loop of cooperation. So I'm just facing the side so that you can see on the camera, but you can face front like normal. We'll wrap our fingers, we'll interlace our fingers that same way we did, where we have a straight line from knuckles to elbows. And if you were able to lower and lift your head with control, you're going to lower your head, walk one foot in a smidge more, and then the other leg you're going to lift as high as you can, essentially through a split. This top leg, I'm going to put a lot of energy in there. And the bottom leg, I'll just come onto tippy toes and I'll start to lift it a bit. So I'm staying in this wide-legged stance. If I fall out of this, I'll just go right back into a dolphin-like shape. So give it a try. You're going to have one side that you favor. Keep breathing. So feel free to take the child's pose between sides. We're going to do it again. Feel free to pause the video and sort of obsess over the details. So watch the feet. When I come up, I'm going to have my toes working to get my heels higher. And then as I lift the one leg, the one that's still on the floor, I'm going to be on tippy toes. And the bottom 12 inches there of your bottom foot lifting is going to be the hardest. So if it didn't work, don't worry. Try again, pause it, or moving on. You can't obsess over it. So we'll just meet in downward dog. Shake out the head. And let's bring our right leg forward between the hands. We'll lower the left knee to the ground. Possibly come down to the left elbow. You also could just stay on the straight arm. We're going to reach the right hand for the back foot. So there's a bit of a twist, and we'll pull the heel in. This is just to get into the left thighs a little bit more, because that is a big portion of splits. A lot of the time we think of a split just as a hamstring stretch, but that's only the front leg. It's equally important to have this thigh cooperate. Okay, let's unravel and just change sides. This is lizard or variation on lizard. You can do it with that right palm flat and the arm straight, or you might come down to the elbow. I don't think it's necessarily harder to be on the elbow. It's just different. Sometimes I like to stay on the palm and shrug the ear, or shrug the shoulder rather, up to the ear so that the waistline stretches. You just find the way that works for you. Okay, let's unravel. We're just going to bring the back foot forward and squat again. Lower down to the butt and give yourself a little hug, knees in toward the shoulders. On the next inhale, we're going to extend everything away. On the exhale, we'll curl it all in again. We'll try to keep the feet off the ground as we reach, and we'll keep the feet off the ground as we come in. I'll just do this 2 more times. If you can have your foot touch the other foot, it's a lot easier. So the entire time they're pressing together. Good. And let's bring the soles of the feet down, possibly rock up onto the soles so your butt is up, and vinyasa. Okay. Let's talk about another way to get into headstand that is not quite through your split. We're going to measure it out the same way, interlace the fingers the same way, push down through the edge of the hand the same way, walk it in, head comes down. Then we'll just keep walking it in until our knees are close to our armpits. And then we'll practice attempting to lift the feet off the ground. Once the feet are off the ground, you can use your belly strength to get your butt up over your shoulders. But it's still that bottom bit that is the hardest. So folks that are taking this video that are advanced, I know you're dying too in that bottom 12 inches. Because once you get to full vertical, you can stay there for a long time. It's the getting there that's very difficult. It takes a crazy amount of control. So let's just come to either standing on the knees, or if you can, sit in Virasana. If Virasana is not good for your knees or your ankles, just don't bother. And we're going to take our thumbs to our lowest ribs. I'm just going to come a little closer to the screen. Thumbs to lowest ribs and middle fingers to hip bones. And we're just going to cinch this in and let it go. And cinch it in and let it go. So if you're on your Virasana position, it's still the same. It's a cinchy in and it's a let it go. So you feel this rib tuck in, the lowest rib tucks in, and then it kind of flares out. And you're controlling this with your core strength. That's essentially how you get in and out of a headstand. Okay, let's just press to downward dog. Let's bring our right foot forward to the hands. We'll lower our left knee down, half split, with a little hip rotation. So then the right foot will face the long edge of the mat. And keep that foot flexed, keep the quads engaged. You're going to feel this down the right outer thigh. One more breath here. Maybe leaning a little more forward. And bring it in so that you can bend the knee. And we'll just start to slide ourselves to our split, whatever that looks like. We'll just take a few breaths there. This will be our last split. Okay, and we'll start to bring the knee in again. Notice you have to lean a little bit forward to make that happen. Change legs, left leg in front. Almost like an Anjaneyasana, but then we'll straighten the left leg. So we call this Ardha Hanumanasana. And we'll spiral that foot to the side. So this is coming from the hip moving. It's the same exact leg as when it was facing up. You just rotate it in the hip. And then it started hurting exponentially more. One more breath here. Okay, and we'll bring that leg front and center again so that we can slide our right leg back to our split. A lot of people untuck the toes and have the top of that back foot on the ground. Sometimes I do, but often I keep it toes tucked under so that I can feel the ball of that back foot pushing down, so that it just helps me keep the hips a little bit more square. Just another breath or two here. Tons of weight in the hands, unless you are a Cirque du Soleil style bendy person. And then you can do all kinds of things with your arms. Okay, let's bring it in. And vinyasa. We're gonna set up for one more headstand where we go through the split again. If it was working for you, or you felt like you could see how the progress would happen, do it in the same way. Otherwise, I'm gonna grab a chair, literally just a random chair from this house. And I'm gonna just put it on the side of the mat. And I'm gonna start the same way as we did before, but I'm gonna use this chair to help me. So let's see. Let's see if there's enough space here. Okay, so I'll start in that measuring of the elbow thing. It never gets old. 20 years later, I'm still measuring. Interlace the fingers, lift the knees. Head comes down, and then I'm gonna put my feet on the chair. And I'm just gonna practice straightening the legs and bending the legs. Just so that I don't freak out. So that I'm getting used to this idea of how to push down and where is my butt in relation to the shoulders. And when you feel confident, when you feel curious about what's next, then start to lift one leg. Only when you feel curious, not when you feel scared. You want to build yourself up, not take on too much too soon. And when you've had enough time on one leg, then you bring that leg back to the chair, and maybe you curl in, maybe you keep your knee bent and close to your chest, or maybe you start to extend it up toward what was like your standing split, where you had one foot reaching for the ceiling with energy, while one foot is on the chair supporting you, the same way as it would eventually do on the floor when you get a little more flexibility in your splits. And let's bring both feet to the chair if you had one up. And just walk yourself back down to the floor and rest in your child's pose for a few breaths. Child's pose can be knees together or knees apart. It can be arms in front of you or arms by your sides. You can use props to block yourself on your butt or block yourself at your head. Okay, and let's unravel. We're just going to vinyasa out of there. Let's take one more little ab thing. We're just going to come onto our butts again. We're going to put the edges of our feet on the ground with flexed feet. We'll lean our shoulders forward. So we're essentially in a little ball. And we'll put our hands flat on the ground, just to the sides of the feet. With this leaning forward, now we can straighten our arms and get our butt off the ground, and bend our elbows, get our butt to the floor again. Let's do that a few times. And the idea here is that because you're leaning forward, you're able to stay sort of scrunched with your front body and expansive with your back body. And then you can get your arms to straighten and your butt to lift. Good. Then just for fun, lift your feet off the ground, squeeze your knees toward your shoulders, and just try it with your feet off the ground. And then we'll come down to our butts. Soles of the feet together. Open it up. And let's fold forward any amount. Baddha Konasana. We're going to aim chest to feet. You could put a block under your head so that your forehead has something to rest on. Or you could put your forehead on the floor. Or you could put a stacked fist. Lots of ways. We'll take another breath or two here. Just relax a little bit through the hips. Okay, and we'll lift the head. Inhale. Release the position. Vinyasa. We step back. We exhale, elbows bent. We inhale. And we exhale. Let's bring either foot forward. It does not matter. We're going to turn to face the long edge of the mat. Lower to the elbows. Measure out like you would. Let me see. I'm trying to get on the camera. There we go. Measure it out as you would and interlace the fingers. Either stay here, just letting the elbows reach toward the ground. If your elbows are on the ground, place your head, lift your heels, and practice shifting your weight until you can get your toes very light on the ground and eventually off the ground. Once you can get the bottom 12 inches of the feet comfortably off the ground, the rest is not nearly as hard. So even though it's frustrating, just keep practicing the part of leaning your weight so that your hips go over your shoulders. And let's slowly get out of there by lifting the head again. And let's just come back onto the mat with normal feet, parallel facing front. And we'll lower to our butts. Right leg on top of left, double pigeon. We fold forward. And it's kind of like Baddha Konasana, where you can put a block under your head, you can put fists under your head, or you can put your head on the ground. Just a few breaths, relax your hips, but don't relax your ankles or feet. So you're working your feet here. It's not a yin pose, it's not a completely relaxed pose. You have to sort of figure out what can you let go of and what do you need to maintain. Okay, let's rise up and just change sides. So as you could tell, there was a bit of chaos at a few different moments through the class because of dogs and people and all the things. But that is part of the practice. That is part of life. You cannot wait to practice until you have the perfect scenario. There will never be a day where your body feels completely pain-free, or you have 2 hours and the temperature is perfect and there's nobody texting you and there's no demands on your time. That will never happen. So just take what you can, do what you can, and that is good enough. Let's rise up. And we'll just extend the legs out in front, windshield wiper, a time or two. And we'll walk our hands back so that we can lay in Shavasana for a few moments. Palms will face the ceiling. And as you relax, your fingers will just naturally curl into your hands. You let go of all breath control. Let's just take a few more breaths here. I know that Zoom has a lot of sound filters, but I hope right now it's not filtering out the wind chimes that are outside the store. Let's start to bring the knees in toward the chest. And we'll just roll to the right side, the fetal position, the little ball. And start to press up to sitting. And we arrange ourselves so that sitting is easy, so that there's no pain in ankles, knees, or hips. And we just keep the eyes closed for another few seconds so that we can practice infusing the relaxation of Shavasana into an upright position. Let's bring the hands together, thumbs between the brows, and bow forward to seal in your practice. We acknowledge the lineage that got us here. And acknowledge yourself for making the choice to actually do it. That is the hardest part. Congratulations. Send me your comments, questions, videos, all that. Thanks, y'all.